This is video clip number 2, lecture 3, week 3, in research methodology. Now we are going to talk about how to define a research problem. Now, what are the things we have to keep in mind when we are going to make or write down a research statement or research problem? Now, defining a problem means to pinpoint the problem, or defining a problem to reach the core of the problem means how to pinpoint different research statements within the field of research, or to reach to the core, the basic needs, why and how we are doing this. So when we are going for defining it, we need these two things. Need of defining a problem. The definition of a problem serves the following purpose. When we define the problem, so what is the purpose? How can it help us? Now, one thing is very much important, that the definition of a problem sets the direction of the study. Now, the direction means it provides you a way how to go for a research. It can make a way very clear in the field of research to conduct your experiment, to collect the data, or do other types of requirements which are the requirements of your research. So the direction from where you will start and where you will end, this direction has been explained when you are defining a research problem. Secondly, the definition reveals the methodology or procedure of the study. Now, I have already explained that it will provide us a change that what will be the methodology or procedure that can be used for this research, for this data collection or analysis. Means when you are writing a research statement or research problem, or you are writing a question for that, it can provide you a chance to pinpoint which type of methodology or a method of research you will apply in that field. Now we are moving to the third, that the definition helps the researcher to control subjectivity or biases of the research. Now, that is, when you are defining such problem, it can provide you that as a researcher you will control subjective ideas, your biases towards something. You cannot, it means the research will not be more a personal type of activity, but it will be more objective in nature, and because of this objectivity, it will be called a true and authentic research in the field of research. That is why when you have a research problem or research statement, definitely this statement or the research problem will throw out your biases or your subjective ideas and control or thoughts from the research orientation procedures. The definition of the problem suggests and specifies the variable to be taken up into the investigation through a problem involved into so many variables. Now, the fourth thing is that is very much important, that research problem, when you define it, it can provide you specific variables that are required for your investigation. You cannot make it a conglomeration of so many variables, but only specific which are very much important and very much necessary for that field and that research. So the definition of research problem can help you to specify your variable, dependable variable or independable variable, but not all of them can be taken, but a few specific and the required ones will be selected, but their selection is based on your research problem definition. The definition makes the research work practical. Yes, when you define a research problem, it will make it practical. It will provide us a way of doing things. It's not something a personal opinion, ideas and thoughts, but they are something experimental in the field of research, and that is possible only when you are making certain types of, or you are providing research statement when you are going for your research. Now, what are the precautions in identifying the problem? What are the things a researcher can keep in mind when he is going to identify the problem? Or sometimes different researchers take it just like a gap into the research, other researches. So as a problem, you select a gap, and then what are the precautionary measures when you are going to select a gap or a research problem in the field? Now, the following precautions should be taken into consideration for identifying the problem. Now, the word used for defining a problem should have a single meaning. No multifaceted words and lexeme are allowed in writing a research problem, because whatever the word the researcher is using, that should be very much specified in terms of its meaning, and that can be used for a single meaning, not for multiple meanings in that field. The statement of the problem must be brief but comprehensive. Whatever the statement of the problem or research statement or thesis statement you're writing, that should be brief, concise, comprehensive, but meaningful. That is why the first precaution, you cannot write a generalized type of research problem or a statement of the problem or research statement or thesis statement, but it is very much specified and comprehensive, concise, and to the point in nature. That is why it will provide you a chance to conclude or to have good outcomes for a specific problem. The assumptions are to be recognized for the study. And what are the assumptions the research is keeping in mind? They should be recognized, they should be recognizable, they must be researchable and available in that field. The problem should have practical importance in the field of education. Whatever the problem you are writing or identifying, they should be important in the field of education. It means they must aid something in the area of knowledge, in the field of education, in the field of linguistics. It must aid at least certain new concepts in that field. That is why the practical importance is very much important of your research problem, particularly in terms of its outcomes. The definition or the statement of the problem should have a certain rationale, and rationale means the purpose, importance, and that is why whatever the definition of the statement or statement of the problem you are going to select, it must be based on purpose, it must have an aim, it must be based on objectives. There cannot be a generalized type of statement that anyone can research, but it must be something specific related with very specific ideas or thoughts. Now we are moving towards what are the steps when you are defining a problem. What are the steps you will define a problem? Researchers should have to develop a conceptual framework of the problem. The conceptual framework should be such that it can be stated into verbal form. Every statement is based on certain types of conceptual or theoretical framework in the field of research, because whatever the idea you are clarifying, you want to explore, that must be based on some specific type of research theories, theoretical framework and conceptual framework. The conceptual framework should be such that it can be stated into verbal form, it can be written, it can be explained, it can have impacts in the field of education and linguistics and literature. It must have a worth in that field. Now, delimiting the elements of the problem, when you are defining a problem, so you have to delimit the elements. What are the specific elements you are taking to investigate? So you have to make them very specified. Classify the element in the homogeneous groups. Similar groups, homogeneous mean having similar traits and properties. So you need to classify them, those elements, in the two different types of similar groups or different types of groups which are requirement of your research. Locating the key points in the conceptual frame, whatever the conceptual framework you are applying in your research, so that should be located, or your thesis problem or stated thesis statement must be according to that conceptual framework which you are applying in your research. Evaluating the theoretical security of the problem, whatever the problem you're writing, but it must be based on theoretical security or theoretical assumption or theoretical basis and strong basis. If a theoretical framework is right behind your thesis problem, it means it will be very strong in itself to be applied in the research. That is why theoretical security or theoretical framework is very much important in this field. The final form of the statement can be given into verbal form to a conceptual framework of the problem, and when then it is confirmed, so you will extend this in terms of conceptual framework. Deciding the practical difficulties in conducting the study. So